Hi everyone, hi patrons. I'm here again with another video for you, a little bit of a behind the scenes kind of video that you can enjoy. So if you're watching it, thank you for joining me. And yeah, again, this is just a little bit more informal, a little bit more chatty. When I'm doing the tarot stuff, I really feel like I'm presenting almost like at school with like a class project, and I'm like, here are the things you need to know. So in these videos, it's actually quite nice where I can sit down and just kind of talk to you guys here on Patreon and let you know a little bit more about my journey with different things and just different tips and things that I've noticed in my life. And in the Pisces collective reading for September, there was a huge message about self-confidence, and Spirit really wanted me to speak directly to the camera about this topic because it's something that I've really had to work on in my life. It's something that came up very big for me, and yeah, it's just a big topic, and I actually just thought of something else for it, so I'll just write that down. I'm always getting ideas popping out of nowhere, so I'll just write it down. Yeah, so I would really say that this topic of self-confidence is definitely something for me personally that I had to really work on in my life. I don't believe I was born confident, and I was not confident as a teenager, as a young child. I was extremely introverted, extremely shy, really, like, you would be surprised, guys. I was quite loud at home, I do remember that, but in school or in school settings, particularly secondary school, I was extremely quiet and I felt very conscious. This is the beginning of the journey. And I really didn't like who I was back then. I really didn't feel like I could express myself and be myself. Now, a part of it is I also believe the systems and some of the things around me. So I really didn't like the secondary school system, and even with primary school there were certain things I didn't like as well. It kind of put me into my cage, kind of made me retreat and didn't make me feel like I could open up in a way that, like, I saw some peers that flourished with self-confidence in secondary school. So as you know, the experience is so different for all of us. Some people have a totally different experience, but for me personally, I only became self-confident or worked on this journey when I went to college, where I felt more free and felt like I could do something that I was really passionate about. So for me personally, self-confidence has always been linked to passion, and I really find that when I'm doing things I'm passionate about, I find I can be myself the most and that I can express myself the best. Because when you find things you're passionate about and that are on your strongest skill set, it naturally will put you in an air of self-confidence because it comes easier. Like, if you're not good at science and you're always trying to do it, it's going to be hard to be fully confident at a certain point because it's not something that isn't super natural to you. You can learn how to do it, but whether you'll ever feel fully confident or like thriving in it is another thing to be seen. Maybe you could, and if you can, fair play. I tried. I tried to do that with marketing, and my confidence was never where it is when I'm doing tarot, for example. But yeah, first thing with self-confidence, I really want to say to you here today that, I mean, in my experience, I really did a 360 in my life, from going from this shy, introverted, self-conscious teenager to mastering, I think, self-confidence. It's one topic I've really worked on, and I put myself through hoops to do this. It didn't happen organically, it didn't happen naturally. Everything was coming from me to evolve it because I wanted it to grow. I hate the idea that you have to be stuck and that you have to be the same person for your whole life. I think we are capable of changing when we want, and we are capable of embracing new experiences at different points in our life. So the first thing I have here, and just some tips that I'm going to be running through, that if you're working on this topic, this could help you out and it might be useful for you to hear, is that self-confidence is something you have to train yourself with. It's not always that you can just walk into the room and be like, oh, I'm feeling so good. Like, it's really something that you need to train yourself. For me, it was almost like a skill. That I really found I had to train my mind and train my brain with affirmations and repetition. I found repetition is really important with self-confidence, so that when we do things repeatedly and learn a confidence with them, we develop self-esteem and self-confidence just based off that rhythmic pattern of having to show up and be confident and just doing it again and again and again. Think of when you present in school. At a certain point, you might start to gain a bit of self-confidence through just doing something so much. So I view it like a training and like a skill. And if you're like where I was, where you don't have any self-confidence and you don't feel like you are making the impression that you want to make to people. You can train yourself. We can have a different experience whenever we want. I don't care what people say about this. It's like, oh, you can't change. I really don't like this because I feel like it's self-limiting. It's a self-limiting belief mindset, and that we are capable of change if we assist the energy enough. If we put in the work behind the scenes, then the universe will help us as well. But if we're like, well, I guess this is me, then you will stay that way, you know? So it just depends. If you're hearing this and you want to change, just know it's possible for you. Number 2 I wrote down here is to decide. I actually made an active decision, probably in my early 20s, that I wanted to be a confident person. I do remember doing a lot of vision boards, a lot of mental training, of this kind of thing, because I had a lot of social anxiety at that time, and I really wanted to change it so bad. I really wanted to change it, and I knew to make a huge change I would really have to start going outside of my comfort zone. So I made vision boards about moving and changing, and kind of almost like people I admired. I was just like delving into it, and I was like, I want to become a confident person. I want to be this way. I want to be like the people that I look up to, or celebrities that I see that have that air of self-confidence. I want to be that person. So it's really awesome to make a decision and decide what you want, because when we decide, it's decisive, and the universe usually gets out of our way and assists us. But also with that inspiration aspect, finding people who you see as confident, self-confident, people that are working on themselves, and really kind of figuring out what is it about them and how did they get there, and finding about their journey. Like, I'm really interested in other people's journeys as well, especially those that I look up to, and I kind of try to see, you know, how did they get there and what did they do. But there is a decision point for a lot of people that need self-confidence, or especially like if you're here on YouTube, you do need it to at a certain point decide that you will present in a self-confident way to the camera, and you'll learn that through experience. You'll learn that through just doing it again and again. Yeah, the third thing was points of change. Like, in your life, there are a lot of different points of change that can lead to a boost in self-confidence. I know for me, there was 2 big ones, 3. Studying communications and delving into it, moving abroad, aka putting myself in totally unfamiliar settings, and number 3, joining social situations with absolutely no prior knowledge. So I'll give you some examples. When I was moving and subletting for a while, I would constantly be encountering new situations, new people, and I also had a few different jobs, so I'd be starting and meeting different people, and it was happening so rapidly, so much, that I actually mastered the skill set of, if I go into a new environment, how to not turn to social anxiety, how to find out a way to deal with it. So if you have social anxiety, I know this is really difficult, it's a very difficult thing, but one of the biggest ways to get past that anxiety or that lack of confidence in social settings is to put yourself out there into new and unfamiliar settings where safe, obviously, of course. I never mean to put yourself in new and risky environments. I just mean, if you have parties that you can go to where you can meet new people, if you have experiences, travels that you can do by yourself, or meeting new groups, doing so much of this really builds character first and foremost, and builds confidence. So that's really important. Let's see, another tip for self-confidence from me: speak to the camera, guys. Obviously I'm here on YouTube, I'm here on Instagram, so I'm recording all the time, and honestly, speaking to the camera and watching yourself speak, or looking at yourself back speaking and articulating your words, shows you where is your posture at, what is your body language like, how are you presenting, how are you performing, because this is something really important. When I did study communications in college, we learned a lot about that, about posture, about how to stand strong. Like, it's one of the most important things with self-confidence is to appear that way. Now, whether you are is a whole other vein, but appearing confident is the first thing, the posture. Whether you need cue cards, for example. I remember in communications, they told us, the lecturer that I had, he really spoke a lot about learning to improv without the cards, without any guidance, just getting up and speaking. It's a skill, and once you learn it again and again and again, it gets easier and you become more confident over time. But if you're listening to this and you really want to get your self-confidence up, I really recommend getting your laptop, getting your phone, filming yourself and just doing a little correctional activity. What's your posture like? What is your body language like? What are your hands doing? What are your habits? Actually, if you film yourself for long enough, you will notice you've got some weird habits. For me, I just started to notice I constantly touch my hair, and I'm like it's funny. Like, you will see all kinds of habits if you do it enough. But that exercise of being in touch with the camera will really show you how your confidence is appearing to other people, and if you want to appear more confident, what you can do. Yeah, and I think as well, like the next point I already jumped into, but it's like not being afraid to change, that you can make new decisions, you can become confident through applying some of these techniques. And I do really believe that how you feel about yourself is also linked to self-confidence. So I know for me, I definitely made a decision at a certain point to adopt healthier routines and lifestyle. So what does that include? Smoking, drinking, diet, exercise. I really made a conscious decision that I want to look good, I want to feel good, most importantly, I want to appear well to other people, I want to be confident. And so to do that, my physical appearance is important. And I think we're lying to ourselves if we don't acknowledge that, or if we think it's not. But I think working on it on a natural level, like think about those people that you know that are so magnetic and confident and healthy. They just have a good routine in place. They're focused on their health, and that really breeds an air of confidence, and it breeds a huge air of self-confidence. So I really think focusing on your health makes you feel good, which in turn changes how you present to the camera or to people, or however have you. So thank you for listening. I wanted to keep this relatively short, but these are just some tips I had about self-confidence, because honestly, you can use my testimonial as the fact that anything can change. I was very shy, I was very insecure, I did not have confidence, I could not speak, I was like a mute for a while, especially when I had my brace that was like a mouth guard thing on the daily. And I really decided that I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be that person. I found who I wanted to be, and I made it my mission to become it. So our willpower is really strong, and when you make a decision, it's powerful because the universe will assist you. So that's just my experience, that's just my journey from where I was to where I am now, and I'm really happy I'm not there anymore, to be honest. Sometimes I look back at it and I think, like, oh my gosh, like imagine I hadn't done the spiritual training to become somebody new. Like, gosh, I wouldn't have any confidence that I have now. And to be honest, the other part about my self-confidence now, even though I'm not perfect and I have days where I falter, is that my confidence cannot be shaken by an external force. There is nothing outside of me that will make me feel this lack of self-confidence. It's not capable. My foundations are sturdy and they can't be shaken by small things. And when you develop it with a firm foundation that it can't be rocked so easily, because there will be a lot of things in life that will make us lose self-confidence. And our job is to keep it and protect it and hold it safe. So I hope this helped you, and I'm really curious about your journey with self-confidence. If you watch this and you're actually following me on Instagram, maybe talk to me about it. I'm just kind of curious. Really wanted to delve into this, and Spirit really wanted me to speak about it from where I was to where I am. Like, cannot explain the difference. So that's just my thoughts on self-confidence. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to get back to the readings now. So bye guys.